Welcome to Optional Dialogue, episode 90. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and today I'm joined by Dory. Just Dory today. How are you doing?
Hello, just me. Hi.
Hey, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody if you're in the U.S. The time this episode
Gobble
will be up.
gobble.
Yep, it already happened, but happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And I hope you found the deal you wanted on Black Friday. Because I already been shopping for Black Friday for a bunch of games. It's been sales everywhere, but today we're gonna talk about a lot of video game news and a lot of video game impressions. First, I want to start off with the PlayStation Portal and the PlayStation 5 streaming. So recently, Sony allows us to stream PS5 games, which is it's been like 3 years since the PS5 came out, and we haven't had streaming for PS5. We've only had PS4 and PS3. And I want to say it plays very well. I've been very impressed with their server increase, their boost. It's played better. I didn't really have any input lag, or latency rather. Not only that though, but you can play like third-party games, which is cool. It's not only just like the big Sony first-party games. Like I was able to play like Fist or Demon Slayer or something. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, sorry. I'm super out of the loop when it comes to streaming and video games. So what are the main things that makes to play as like does it not need, does it like less reliant on Wi-Fi, or like is there, I don't know. I can't remember what streaming is for in terms of video games.
Well, I mean, it's from their own server.
Okay.
You can play it anywhere on any device.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Now, and the cool thing about the PS5 streaming is you can also like, well, first of all, you can play in 4K, which is even Xbox can't do. So they're the first ones to do that. And also, you can record and take screenshots up to 3 minutes. So like, you couldn't do that with streaming. You can't do that with PS3 at all. So that was cool, and it still has like the enhanced audio and everything. So it feels like you're actually playing a PS5 game. It's just it's just from their server, not yours. But you still have to have good Wi-Fi to play it. I mean, if your Wi-Fi sucks, you're gonna have a hard time with this, I'd imagine. My Wi-Fi is pretty good. It's not like the best in the world. It comes in handy if like you have a big game and you feel like downloading like a 80 gig game. But I would still recommend downloading your games unless you really want to stream something. If you're just gonna play on the PS5. But it comes in handy. For the most part, 95% of the time, I didn't even remember. I forgot I was streaming. Like, it was that seamless. But here and there, it has its hiccups. So I wouldn't play like a Souls game or anything streaming, personally. But yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah. So basically, like streaming means you don't have to download it to your console. It doesn't have to take up memory.
Exactly. It streams.
Okay.
It's on their end, basically.
Right. Okay. I got it now.
It's like if you were playing. It's like if you were playing off their PS5.
Yes. Got it. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Now.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
On the other hand, the PlayStation Portal came out. It looks like this. It's right here. This is the PlayStation Portal. It's quite big.
Look at that.
It's actually a lot bigger than the Switch.
Yeah.
The screen is LCD. It's not OLED. But it's still really nice looking. It's the same screen as the Asus ROG Ally. Now this is not a handheld though. People keep saying it's a handheld. Why get it if you why just not get a Switch or a Steam Deck OLED
or a backbone?
Yeah, or a backbone. But the first thing is this is a remote play accessory, and that's it. It's not a handheld. It doesn't do anything else except remote play. And if you don't know what remote play is, you mirror what you're playing on your PS5 onto the device. So you're basically streaming your PS5 onto the device, and you have to have Wi-Fi to play this. You cannot go outside unless you. Now you can play it outside if you have a hotspot on, but it won't just like work if you're like out in the middle of nowhere and there's no Wi-Fi. But you need to have really nice Wi-Fi for it to work. But you can be anywhere in the world. So let's say you're like in a different city, as long as your PS5 has Wi-Fi in the house and you leave your PS5 on rest mode, it will turn on and you can play it from anywhere. So
nice.
Yeah. Now,
cool.
Basically you turn it on and it will like have like a little portal like icon in the middle, and you hit X and it will find your PS5, and then it does like a little cool Doctor Strange kind of portal animation. and then it goes on your PS5. Now it's been inconsistent for me because my Wi-Fi is, in terms of the upload speed, is 50-50. So I've had some moments where it's amazing, and other moments where I can't even play it. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to invest in an Ethernet cable. I have to maybe run it to a different room because it's not in this room. And so I recommend this device if you have an Ethernet cable. If you have very inconsistent Wi-Fi, I would not get this device. Otherwise, it's gonna be a waste of time. It's not gonna be what you expect. But if you do get, if you do have Ethernet and you have really nice Wi-Fi or whatever, it's almost seamless. Like just playing Spider-Man 2 on the go, not on the go, but like on a handheld is incredible. It's seamless. So
it's got to be in the same house as the PS5 that's connected to the same Wi-Fi, right?
No,
or am I misunderstanding?
Yeah. No. As long as the PS5 is on a Wi-Fi.
Yes.
You can play the Portal anywhere. Like, so as long as like the place you're at has a Wi-Fi, like say you go to a hotel and has Wi-Fi, as long as the place you're at has Wi-Fi and then your home has Wi-Fi, it will turn. You can control your PS5.
Oh wow! So it doesn't even have to be the same Wi-Fi network.
No. So if I was in Boston right now and my PS5 was home on my Wi-Fi, I could play it from Boston, long as my PS5 is on rest mode. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah. But again, it really depends on your own Wi-Fi, because if your Wi-Fi sucks,
right, of course,
yeah,
don't do it.
Now, problem for me though is that my PS5 is for the like last year and a half has had a bug where when I turn my PS5 back on from rest mode, my internet is not on. Like it will say it's connected, but it's really not because like the store won't work and my profile won't load. I have to like go in the settings and turn it off, turn it back on. Now that sounds, and it gets quite annoying, even though it only takes like 5 seconds to go back on. But when it comes to the Portal though, like when I'm out and about, I can't be home to change it. So this device is gonna be mostly for home use for me. But that's what I got it for anyway. It's for like if I want to like watch Netflix and like play PS5 in bed or something, or on the couch. I don't always feel like playing my console on TV. So for me, it's worth it. It's very niche. This is for a hardcore PlayStation audience. It's only $200. How much is it? It's $200.
Oh, 200. Okay, yeah.
And give it about tax was like $220. So I don't regret buying this, and I think it's going to be very useful for me. But it's not for everybody. But still get into the conversation of like, oh, why not just buy a Switch OLED or Steam Deck or whatever? It's like, well, those are handhelds, and this is just an accessory. And you can't play Spider-Man 2 on Switch. So, yep. So I recommend it if you're into PlayStation 5. So that's all I have to say about that. Let's move on to all the news about the live action Zelda movie, which I guess is not a surprise in the sense that after the Mario movie made like $1 billion, of course they're gonna make a Zelda movie. But the thing that surprised me is I didn't expect it to be live action, and I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'd prefer an animated Zelda movie.
Same.
I would have liked to see like a Studio Ghibli Zelda movie or something.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
That would have been nice. But I think it can be done. It just has and I think the people in charge are gonna. Nintendo's very strict with like how the characters portrayed. So I feel like they're going to do it justice. Now, is it going to be an amazing movie? I don't know. I don't think the Mario movie was anything like mind-blowing. It was very entertaining, good, and like I think it did a great job capturing Mario. But it wasn't like 90. It wasn't a 90 on Rotten Tomatoes or it wasn't like the Oscar kind of movie. But it was really good. I had a lot of fun with it.
The elephant in the room about this live action Zelda movie is they're never going to live up to the one that's already come out. The IGN already came out with one in 2006. So I mean, like it's already done.
I remember that. Yep. Yeah. Yep. But the cool.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't have a ton to say about this. I agree with you. I would prefer it to be animated. So it would be so cool if it was like a Wind Waker movie or something like that, cell shaded with all the facial expressions and stuff. I love that.
I love that like Wind Waker world. Yes. That'd be really cool.
So good. Aged so beautifully too. I don't know how I feel about live action. It really depends on who they get. The director I'm not super enthused about because I think he did the Maze Runner trilogy, if I'm hearing right. But which is not a promising start. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even watch the Mario movie, and I know that was huge. Peaches blew up and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. What were you gonna say next?
Well, the big news out of this movie as well is that they're working with Sony, and like they haven't worked together since the Nintendo PlayStation. Long story
Right.
short, Nintendo backstabbed Sony. Sony's like wanted revenge, and created the PlayStation, and they've been a juggernaut ever since.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
funny how that works.
So the distribution is going to be from Sony Pictures. So now Sony Pictures is very inconsistent. They have a lot of duds, but I feel like this movie's going to have. I think they're going to do Zelda justice. My big question too is Link gonna talk, and I think that's gonna like drive people crazy because we all know Mario's voice, right? Like people were upset with Chris Pratt being Mario, but I think he did a good job and everything. But like not Zelda. Link doesn't talk. Link doesn't ever speak.
Yeah,
he makes noises.
Right.
Like we know what like when he does hi-ya, we know what that sounds like. But
I mean, like
when he starts talking, it's gonna be CDI Zelda.
It's gonna be some fucking Zack Snyder-esque dark, gritty reason why, like, he's cut, like his vocal cords are cut from previous battles with Ganondorf or some shit, so he can't talk. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, what's wild? The most wild thing about this is that we didn't even learn from like a press release or some shit.
Yeah,
Miyamoto just fucking tweeted out, "Oh yeah, we've been working on live action Zelda with Sony for a while with Avi Arad, Arad-san or whatever he said, Avi-san."
Yeah,
and I just out of fucking nowhere, and the whole internet's like, okay, like this is how you announce this? Like, all right, I mean, fine, I guess, but Miyamoto could do really whatever he wants. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably not coming anywhere in a close amount of time. I would say probably not until 2025 or 6 or something from the sound of it. But they have been working on it, so I don't know. Maybe it'll be cool, but I am not. Even with recent video game movies bucking the trend of video game movies being bad, I'm not excited or optimistic. Well, last thing I will say though, very funny if we try to get a movie to video game adaptation. Who does it? Is it on Sony and on Nintendo, or is it just on Sony or just on Nintendo? Anyway, they won't do that, but really funny to think about.
And I hope they get unknown actors as well, because I don't want celebrities to be in this movie just to be dressed up. Yeah, like I don't want Tom Holland just as Link. It would distract me.
I do think Hunter Schafer would be great as Zelda, and she loves the series, so I think that would be cool. But I also think, this is me being a really petty trans person, but it'd be really funny just because it would make a lot of people upset, and that's where I'm at apparently. But I do think it would be awesome for her and for the role. I'm not super familiar with her work though. But yeah, I don't really have any fan castings or anything. Is there anybody you think you should be Link? I don't really know.
I don't even know. I just want unknown actors, because it would take me out of the world.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yep. All right, let's move on to GTA 6 news. So apparently we're getting a trailer next month for GTA 6.
Yeah, really, really soon now. Like a couple weeks, a week, something like that.
Yeah. No, obviously the game got leaked a bit. Like someone hacked them, and long story short, we saw the game being played and stuff. The game is in Miami again,
Nice.
so it's Vice City. I'm excited too because I'm a South Floridian myself.
Yep.
And I'm excited to see that. And you can play as a female protagonist this time. Like there's 2 different characters.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's a big news. They're both Latinos, I think. But that's all we really know about this game. I'm excited, of course. I'm a huge Grand Theft Auto fan. Grand Theft Auto is consistently great. I do miss the days where Rockstar used to give us a game like every year. I'm kind of like, I don't like the fact that like in the same span of like 10 years we got like San Andreas 3 and Vice City.
I mean, you think about it. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out 10 years ago?
Exactly.
Something like that.
2013.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah, and the difference between Red Dead Redemption games was huge. We've never gotten a sequel to Bully. I mean, it's kind of wild. I mean, I'm all for them in any studio really taking their time, honing their craft. Not crunching their people. Although it sounds like that happens anyway. I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, I'm not like, oh, pump out a game every year like Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed used to do. But at the same time, yeah, it is kind of weird. We've got these huge gaps, 10 years between different games. I mean, that's huge. Think about, God, even 10 years ago, so different. I think the PS4 had just come out, or had only recently come out, maybe a couple of years beforehand. So I mean, that's a whole generation ago in terms of gaming.
Absolutely. I mean, I beat Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PS3, the PS4, and the PS5,
Yeah.
and I played a little bit on Xbox, and I think it still holds up. I mean, it's the sandbox open world of it is incredible. I mean, I think the biggest problem with it is the gameplay in terms of like I think the combat is outdated. I think Rockstar needs like to really update their gameplay. Like Max Payne 3, which Rockstar did, was really good. The combat was really awesome, and that was the best combat they've had since. Like that, I think Red Dead is an amazing game series, and Red Dead Redemption 2 was just like the world was incredible, right? But the gameplay was so stiff. Like he was like he felt like he was walking on mud, and so I hope the GTA 6 feels more fluid in terms of the combat.
Seb and I were talking about this in the Discord, but my history with the franchise is pretty old at this point. I mean, I grew up, I played San Andreas, I played Vice City. I remember I played Vice City on a very scratched copy that I should not have had. And it was so fun. I remember loving it when I was a kid. But definitely a sort of game I should not have been playing. No regrets. And then I remember I did play a little bit of San Andreas on the PS2. I also remember back when G4 was super popular as a channel in the mid-2000s, the hot coffee controversy and all that stuff happened. So I was like very aware of Grand Theft Auto throughout like my biggest gaming years, and I did play a couple of the big names, but after that I never really got into the franchise. I still have never played 5, and I'm not sure I will. I'm not sure I'll even play 6. Rockstar games, I almost said Rocksteady. Rockstar games are difficult for me to get into. I usually find the gameplay, Red Dead Redemption, very frustrating to even watch, let alone enjoy. And as I've said before on the podcast, I'm very hit or miss on open world games, and that's kind of their big thing. Also, their sense of humor isn't for me a lot of the time. I know, obviously, the series has gotten better on that front, and obviously they have changed things for the better in a lot of ways in the Grand Theft Auto series specifically. It's got a huge fan base, and I mean, God, they hit, 1 million likes or views or something in an hour or some shit, some crazy metric. So, I hope it's great, and I hope the people who want it love it. I probably won't get it, but I'll definitely check out reviews. And I mean, like, if the gameplay, like you said, if the gameplay looks much improved, I'll at least consider it.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, even if the gameplay is the same, I'm day one.
Yeah.
I mean, Grand Theft Auto is Grand Theft Auto, but
Yeah.
I expect it to be at least good. But I'm excited about it. I don't know who. So I'm guessing it's coming out next year. Is that? I guess that's a possibility. If
they're dropping a trailer, you would think so.
It's gotta be ready.
I mean, I don't know.
Close to ready. So we'll see.
Yeah.
That'd be huge. I mean, that's probably gonna be one of the favorites for Game of the Year. I'd imagine it's gonna have a lot of hype. Because 2024 is looking more like a not like a bad year. It's like a medium. Yeah. There's a lot of great games coming out next year, but it's nothing like this year.
It's gonna. I feel so bad for 2024. That's like, that's like having like an Oscar-nominated scene, show up, and then right next to it is like high school dropouts that are like, in a very good, like, that are very good and very talented, but like they're just gonna get fucking lambasted. Like Joaquin Phoenix was so much better. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just saying I feel bad for 2024. It's going to be tough because a lot of people are going to be comparing it unfairly to 2023. I don't think we've had a year like this in gaming in a long time, if we we probably have, but yeah, it feels like a very long time.
It might be the best year ever, really. I mean, you can make a
It,
case.
it could be. It could be, absolutely.
I mean, there's something great for great years, but that's another topic for another day.
That's another topic, yeah.
But yeah, like that's okay though. I think not every year needs to be a banger. I think some years you need to have like slow down and just let people play the backlog.
Thank God.
Yeah. No, it's good for like the indies and stuff too, because if you have like AAA games like every like 2 weeks, like if it was insane like that, like it's not fair. I think some of the indies got overshadowed this year because we were so into like AAA games every freaking 2 weeks. Anyway, let's move on to the last news of the night, which is The Last of Us Part 2 getting remastered, and it's coming out in January 19. So that like I mean, there was a rumor like I want to say a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago, the Last of Us Part 2 was happening, and so there was a lot of like smoke. So I kind of expected it. I'm guessing like if not for the leak, it would have maybe been shown at the Game Awards that they were remastering it, since it won Game of the Year in 2020.
For sure.
Now the big concern was, is this going to be like a $70 price tag? And fortunately, it's not. It's only $10. And
thank God.
Yeah, and it comes with enhancements. It has DualSense features. It has like better lighting, I guess. Better like, I guess the graphics are gonna look better a bit. Nothing like Part 1, obviously, because Part 1 was a full remake.
Right.
But still, I don't see people are doing pictures like back to back, like next to each other. It's like I don't see the difference. But
I don't either.
I think you'll see the difference like when you actually play it with the lighting and stuff. I'm sure like the performance is better. I think the one thing Naughty Dog does really well is performance. I think, and lighting and graphics and animation. So I'm sure that it will look good. Now, also the big news was that there's a new mode. It's a roguelike survival mode called No Return. So that's pretty exciting. I like roguelikes is really picking up steam. It's getting really popular. So that's exciting. So I think for $10, you're getting a remastered Game of the Year game, and you're getting a new mode and features, and I think Ellie can wear costumes in the game and stuff now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I think it's worth $10. For me anyway. I'm gonna play it. I'll platinum it again, honestly.
Look, I'm gonna be a whole Dory Downer. Oh, that rules. I never realized I could say Dory Downer instead of Debbie Downer. I'm gonna be a Dory Downer here. I'm not really a huge fan of this. It feels like we keep getting remake after remake with this. I know that's not necessarily true, but I think it's just because it's so close to not only when The Last of Us Part 2 came out, but also The Last of Us Part 1 remake just came out as well. It's hard not to feel a little bit of this is from somebody who loves these games, has a lot of respect for the studio, has a lot of respect for the stuff that they did. I just feel like this is a bad look for them from an optic standpoint. Now, that said, the roguelike stuff looks cool. The guitar free mode sounds awesome. I would love it, actually, if somebody posted a story on, like, I don't know, TikTok or YouTube or some shit, and they were like, I literally learned how to play. I bet there is, but I literally learned how to play guitar because you can do a whole bunch of melodies in that game. There are people playing, like, Nothing Else Matters and shit like that on YouTube. So this is cool. I mean, $10 is a saving grace. If this was another full game remake, I would thrash this shit. This would be unconscionable to me. $10, not bad. And they've done similar. I would be a hypocrite at this point if I said that that's unreasonable, because I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing was reasonable when they did the upgrades for Miles Morales or Resident Evil or whatever. I don't remember all the specifics, but certain games they've done this with in the past. I don't really like calling it a remaster. It's not. To me, that's not even the best part of this. The best part is like the lost levels, the costumes, the guitar free mode, the role play. Like, everything else matters more than the graphics, because the graphics are already so nice. I think this is I think this is unnecessary, and I think they could have just done a patch that was or offered DLC that was $10. I think that would have been better optics. But it's still cool, and there's still cool stuff coming out of it, and it's a reasonable price, most importantly, especially during the holiday season, or near the holiday season, I should say. So cool. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'm not going to hate on it like some people on Twitter either. I'm just kind of meh about it. But yeah, I mean, maybe I'll check it out. Maybe it'll get me to get back into Last of Us Part 2 for a little bit. Like Seb said, there are more spaces in 2024 than 2023, so could be January. Could be a good time to check it out. But Rebirth is right around the corner, and so on and so forth. So who knows?
Yeah. I think a lot of people agree with you. I think a lot of the negativity is just the fact that like Factions is indefinitely delayed. And,
yeah. Well, if not gone. I mean,
yeah.
some of the people there were laid off or something.
I think they said recently that they're still working on it. It's not canceled or anything. But
okay.
But for all we know, it's not coming out anytime soon. So
right.
So Naughty Dog's been dead silent since 2020. All we've gotten is a remake and a remaster, if you include this game. So meanwhile, Insomniac is giving us Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2, and Ratchet and Clank in the same span of it was like Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2, Ratchet and Clank, all in the span of what, since 2023 years. So
yeah,
it's a bad look.
Not long at all.
It's a bad look. But I'm excited about it because it's only $10. Like the last time they did this was Ghost of Tsushima. They did the director's cut for $10, and I saw
right.
and I would say there was a distinct difference.
Right,
like, I felt like a legitimate PS5 game. So,
I mean that was one. It wasn't that one of the first. Oh, that was one of the early versions of it, right? Or like that was that still a PS4 game? Or was that one of the first PS5 games? I don't remember.
No, it was a PS4 game because it came out in July.
Okay,
it actually came out only a month
God.
after Last of Us. Last of Us came out in June of that year, and the Ghost of Tsushima came out in July, and then the PS5 came out in November. That was a huge year for PlayStation.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, I saw a distinct difference. So if Sucker Punch can do that, then I think Naughty Dog can really make this look like a PS. I think it's gonna look like a legitimate PS5 game. Now again, is it worth it? Probably not. Is it a cash grab? Of course. I mean, of course it is. Am I still excited to play it? Yeah. I mean, January is looking kind of stacked, but I don't feel like the games in January I really want to drop full price on, like day one. Like I feel like I can wait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like Final Fantasy is the first game I'm gonna get day one, but everything else I can wait.
I agree.
But yeah. So it feels like a good. I feel like January is a perfect month to do this. I feel like that's really good time right after the break, and I'm not gonna have any giant games to play, so perfect time. All right, so let's move on to our game impressions. So we're gonna talk about 3 games tonight. First, we're gonna talk about Jusant, which is from Dontnod. They made Last of Us. Life is Strange. Life is Strange Before the Storm, and that other game I forget what it was called. Something Mirror, Twin. Was it Twin?
Twin Mirror, yeah. Twin Mirror.
It wasn't that good.
Yeah.
So, but I want to say I haven't beat it. I'm halfway through it. It'll be my next platinum because it's a very easy platinum. I'm really liking it. I think it's a very chill game. It's really relaxing. What do you think about it?
Yeah, here's the best thing I can say about Jusant. I beat it. That is the nice, like, and I don't mean that in like damning by faint praise. I am not a fan of this kind of game. Not cozy games, but like climbing games where like R2 and L. See, I fucked it up. R2 and L2 are, and that's why I'm not a big fan, because I am so bad with my directions under pressure. I was explaining this to a kid I was working with one day. I was like, I'm so bad with my directions under pressure. Like the game's like right, left, right, left. I got it eventually, but it's not something I super enjoy. I don't like having to constantly think about it. I liked this game. I wasn't huge on it, and I did almost quit it halfway through, not because it was incredibly hard or bad or anything, just because, again, it's not my like cozy games. I like chill games. This is definitely that, but the main mechanic is climbing, and I don't mind climbing in like a Uncharted context where it's like, a neat part of the experience, or Tomb Raider or something. But when it's the whole game, it's not really for me. But that said, music is beautiful, animation is beautiful. You can tell the team very much cared about this world and the world building. There's lots of little notes you can look at. The abilities are cool and very well done. This is one of those games that I would highly recommend to other people but I knew, even looking at trailers, I was like, I'm not gonna play this. And then Seb was like, well, it's on Game Pass. Why don't you give it a shot? I was like, all right, you're right. So, and it's only 4 hours. I think I beat it in 4 hours, maybe 5. I can't, every section. I definitely had a lot of moments where I was like, sorry, excuse me. I had like this is going on a little too long, and then I'd be done. So it always felt very well paced. I don't. The last part of it is pretty cool. There's some really cool cinematics. I won't give too much away. But yeah, there's some cool world building. You're in a post-apocalyptic world. Water is almost thought to be a myth. There's definitely some commentary on climate change and environmental damage and stuff like that. Also, lots of conversations between people and writing letters. You get different abilities throughout. Nothing super flashy, but obviously helpful. There were a couple times where I got frustrated, but I also don't really have the patience for these kind of games. But I will say, even with that, this game is very accessible. You can put this. I had to look this word up, but pitons. You can look up. You can put various pitons in the rock wall, and that will give you like a soft checkpoint, basically, to keep going. Or if you fall, you'll continue from that point instead of losing all your progress. That was a lifesaver. If I hadn't had that, I probably would have quit. But yeah, I don't know. Seth, how are you finding it?
Yeah, it's very accessible. You can't die in this game.
Yes.
It has like that Breath of the Wild like stamina mechanic, but it's very forgiving.
Yes.
Because even if you fall, you basically replenish all your stamina.
Yep.
And there's even like checkpoints like in the middle of the climbing, like it will like regain your stamina, so that comes in handy as well. It's very accessible.
Right.
It's meant to be a chill like climbing game. I think some of the platforming can be challenging in terms of like where to go, because there's some sections where you have to like swing on the rope, like to get to a platform on the left side. You have to really look around. Obviously, I'm following a guide for the collectibles, because there's a lot of collectibles in this game. It's like you have to collect all these letters and stuff. But it's not like telling me where to go in terms of like the puzzles and like the climbing. I feel like the most part I'm following it pretty straightforwardly. It's not like crazy. I think the platform is pretty easy. There's some sections where it get a little frustrating. It gets a little janky. Like he won't climb where I want him to climb. There's some sections where you climb on the flowers, and like if it's in the sunlight, they shrink away. You have to be quick. And there's other sections where you climb on these little rock bugs, and they carry you up. You can freeze them.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different mechanics in terms of that, but the whole game is just climbing up a mountain, basically.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like those like Abzu, like those kind of games where it's like just nice chill music, cell shaded, like this cool like I don't know, it's like this, I don't know, it's like claymation.
I was talking to somebody,
like it.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about this game, and they were like, "Oh, it sounds like Journey, but with like a lot more climbing." And I was like, "Yeah, it's got like that's very similar
that
art
kind of
style.
Indie. It's very indie.
Yes, very indie, very cozy vibes. There's no co-op or anything like that. It's all single player. But it's cute. I like it. I'm not like hot on it. It's not coming anywhere near my top 10 or anything like that. But it is a nice game. If you got 4 hours to kill somehow between all the other games this year. I think this is a nice game, and if you like climbing, this is your game, because this is very accessible. If I finish this game, you can finish this game. That's like my main takeaway from this, because I can get pretty impatient with this kind of stuff, and I was not excited by the trailer. I did love the animation, I love the music, I love the look. Also, Don't Nod, Before the Storm, one of my favorite DLCs of all time. Cried my eyes out. So definitely some good pedigree here. Just not my genre generally, so don't take what I'm saying as like, oh, it sucks or whatever. No, it's just not really for me. But I still liked it, which tells you how good this probably is for people who do like climbing games and just chill games and stuff like that.
I also appreciate that Don't Nod try something different. Other games tend to be very narrative-focused games.
Yep.
Like they did that Harmony game in Twin Mirror, and they did Tell Me Why.
Right.
And I know they helped with Life is Strange too. And stuff like that. They did they did that vampire game. That wasn't very good though. Vampire.
They're very inconsistent. They'll drop some amazing shit, and then they'll do stuff like Twin Mirror and that vampire game, I guess, and whatever else.
But yeah, Jusant, I know people are complaining that it's too short. I've seen that criticism. I feel like 4 hours is a good length for it, because I feel like if it's too long,
Agreed.
I think people will get tired of it.
Yeah, I thought it was a perfect length. And honestly, I mean, I would have had it to go shorter before I had it go longer. But it really felt like a solid length to me, especially as a Game Pass game for $10. I mean, you can't go wrong. This is a great experience for $10. If you want to look at it like that.
Yeah, I bought it for
Um,
20, I believe,
yeah,
which I don't mind. I don't
yeah,
regret getting it for 20.
yeah.
No, I like to own my games. I know I'm weird, but I think this is a game James would love. I feel like this would be very much his kind of game if he was here. I wonder if he played it. I have to ask him.
Mm,
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I think it's a nice, cozy little indie game in between all
yep.
the big games, which we need. So let's move on to another Game Pass game. Obviously, all three games are on Game Pass, just to be
Yep.
clear.
Yeah.
And I didn't play any of them on Game Pass. I bought them all,
Yeah.
except for Thirsty. I didn't buy,
Sabotage.
but I didn't buy Thirsty Suitors because I was curious what your opinion was going to be first. So,
Right. Right.
So how do you feel
Um,
about it?
Once I'm done coughing. Okay. This is a really wonderful game. Look, this is definitely one of those games that, and Mitch said it on the last podcast, but more than the sum of its parts. It's got just okay skateboarding, good, good cooking, and pretty good turn-based RPG mechanics. Side note, I'll talk about this more in our Game of the Year discussion, but this is the year where I really got into turn-based RPGs. This is another turn-based RPG I played this year.
One of
Besides
us.
Super Mario
One
RPG.
of us. One of
Yep,
us.
I guess so. Yeah, yeah. I gotta go back and play some classic turn-based RPGs maybe, because I've always loved the narrative aspect of it. And to transition back to the game we're actually talking about, Seb, come on, man. No, I'm kidding. Thirsty Suitors has an incredible narrative. That is the best part of this game by far. And that's not to say that the gameplay portions are bad. It's just that they feel a little undercooked compared to compared to the narrative stuff. Look, you are playing I believe, Indian American, and by that I mean person from India. She's like South Asian, and she is in a very difficult family, in a very, very difficult point in her life. She's just come back to her very stereotypical Northwestern hipster town. A lot of people on Game Pass are complaining because this is quote unquote woke, aka you can have LGBT relationships, and there's a trans person who's like your main enemy. So apparently, that's bad.
Well, is it controversial that the enemy's trans, or is it just because it's woke?
Just because they're there, because they're pushing an agenda or whatever bullshit. I looked at some of the reviews against my better judgment and then needed to wash my eyes out. Yeah, I mean, this handles things very well. No one's really one dimensional. A lot of people have very good defining traits. Basically, this game is Scott Pilgrim plus South Asian culture plus Tony Hawk. If Tony Hawk wasn't quite as good as Tony Hawk usually is.
Yeah, I saw the skateboarding and I saw the mini games, which is kind of
Yes.
cool. So how are the mini
Yeah.
games?
Yeah, and I think, and they're not bad. It can be a little hit or miss. I played with the skateboarding a little bit. I thought it was fun enough, but I didn't go deep into it.
Now is it
yeah.
is it trying too hard to be like doing everything at once? Is it trying too hard to be like hip, like in terms of
It
like
is.
all
It
these
is
mechanics?
trying to balance a lot of plates at once. On one hand, I respect that. On the other, it makes it difficult for the game to have kind of a coherent tone of its own. But the narrative makes up for that, I think. I think the narrative is really what brings it together. There's, stuff about redemption, stuff about your past not defining you, stuff about family conflicts, which I think are probably the best part of it. There's, the game's not afraid to get weird, right? There's a cult in your town that is taking children and is run by a guy in a bear suit that runs a skate park. I mean, it's not afraid to get weird. I think actually one of my favorite parts was the cooking mini games. It's and I was surprised because in real life, not a big cooker. Don't cook a lot. But I thought it was really fun and really well done. Not incredibly innovative. Look, if you don't like QTs, don't play this game. Like, don't play this game because this game has a lot of, and I don't mind personally, but I can see someone finding it very annoying. There's a lot of QTs, especially in the cooking. Not so much in the skateboarding. There's a QT when you try to defend at the last second and hit at the last second. Classic RPG staples.
Like Sea of Stars kind of thing.
Yes, like Sea of Stars. Mario RPG, which I'm playing right now. Are the
QTs?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
are the QTs hard? Or
no. They're all pretty easy. I mean, every now and then, what you can do during the cooking game is you can do a regular version of something or a heat version of something, and similar to in Yakuza, actually, funnily enough, the heat actions are just like more QTs, faster. You got to do them a little better. So I mean, it always warns you. I would say difficulty level, not too hard of a game. I never died, I don't think. A couple of situations got a little iffy, but the bosses are all handled really well. A lot of it's just coming back to confront your past, confront your exes, fight your exes through this kind of psychosocial drama. And it's really cool. The artwork, the graphics are based on the Unity engine, which I almost always think makes really good stuff. Yeah, it's just a lovely game, and there's a lot of inclusivity, as I already said, so I love to see that. But there's a lot of stuff about cooking, a lot of foods I did not know existed. There's a lot of narrative stuff. I do have some criticisms. My biggest criticism being, it does feel like it's trying to put a lot in one game, and I think that is its best quality, but also its worst quality. It's trying to do a lot of things and ends up doing most of them good, but it's really the narrative and the voice acting and the story and the writing that shines the most here. I definitely got emotional at a couple of scenes towards the end. For me, this is also a dating sim. Sorry, I forgot to mention that it's also a dating sim on top of all those other things I just mentioned.
Like Persona 5,
kind of a little bit. You can talk with your exes and do certain errands and missions for them. I didn't explore that at all. I had no interest in almost all of her exes because they kind of all sucked. The only obvious choice for me was her best friend, who, like I said, is trans, is a really great character, Tyler. But I didn't really. I felt like I didn't get a super satisfying conclusion. I mean, I understood why it was the way it was, so I'm not saying it was badly written. I personally would have wanted more, but because it's the only one that felt right for the main character, whose name I'm totally blanking on. She's just left a bunch of wreck and havoc in her wake, and now she's kind of coming back to it to make amends, or not. I mean, there's choices you can make that dictate how your character is.
Gotcha. Now, how long was the game for you to beat?
Yeah, it was about, I want to say, 10 hours.
Okay, only 10 hours?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little more. I don't think Xbox is going to be a good indicator of how much I played. But I believe it was like 10 to 12 hours for me. But that's also, I didn't finish all of the... okay, it says 12 and a half hours. So honestly, probably 10 to 12 hours is what I would say for the game. What was I saying? Yeah, so I mean, I didn't fully go in on the cooking games or fully go in on the skating games, and I barely explored the dating sim part of it because I was very intent on her getting back with her best friend. So there definitely, what I'm saying is basically there is more to play, and I didn't explore those avenues, but that was fine by me. Once I was done, I felt like I was done. But yeah, 10 to 12 hours. I think it's a great game. It's not going to hit my top 10, but it is a great game, and I think it's worth playing if you like any of those things. Just to repeat, it's a cooking game, a skateboarding game, a turn-based RPG, and a dating sim all in one. Just incredible. It's a lot. But it's really cool. And I think it does a lot of interesting things really well. It does most of its things just okay or good. So I recommend this game. It's on Game Pass. Like I said, not a super long game. You could beat this in a weekend probably, or maybe a little more than a weekend. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's a great game. Needs some more development, but it was fun.
Would you recommend it for $30, which is the current price, or would
Oh boy,
would you say wait?
30. $30. I think that's fair. I wouldn't mind. I definitely would buy it for 20. 30 is a little much, but I don't think that's outrageous. I think that's reasonable enough. I would buy it for $30.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to be on sale because of the indie sale, but it's not right now. But
Yeah.
I'll get it at some point for sure. But yeah, I look forward to it. I'll try it out. I like turn based. I looked at reviews and videos on it and stuff. Seemed like it was a cool looking game, very unique. I love quirkiness.
Yes.
Kind of like just has like it knows it's a video game and has fun with it. I like those.
Yep.
I always appreciate that kind of games. Those kind of games. All right, so you ready to move on to the next game?
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about our last topic of the night, which is Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. So this is the newest Yakuza game, with like the next Yakuza game coming out like next like 2 months. So it's like right around the corner. I guess this game is like a prequel to that. Like it's building up to that game.
It's a bridge. I mean, it's kind of like
that's
yeah, it's a bridge. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing, but it's not a prequel or a sequel. It's
a
like
prequel to like the next game. I mean, so it's a bridge. Yeah.
Yes. It's like when Metallica released Death Magnetic, and it was like a genre bridge.
I would think
between.
My guess would be to me it feels like Kingdom Hearts 2.8, like that little game we had in the middle between before 3 came out. It was like setting up things for 3. I feel like this is what this is.
It was 0.2, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I know something like that.
It's in the 2.8 collection. I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm just being a fucking persnickety.
The Aqua game. How about that?
Yes, the Aqua game. The tech demo for KH3. That's really good.
Now I haven't beat this game yet. I'm on chapter 4. So I imagine I'll beat this. Not playing. Maybe tonight or tomorrow. Some point. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, you're on chapter 4. You're close.
Yeah. I'm really liking it. First of all, I really like I like the look of it. Like it looks really nice. Like it doesn't feel like just a tacked on game. Even though it feels like they made it really quick. Like they made it like within a year or whatever, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I guess
it's all in Sotenbori. So
they have the foundation. Area. They have the foundation already, I guess. So it's easy to build on that foundation, I suppose. But the best way I can describe this game is it's a Yakuza game. It's like the definition of a Yakuza game.
Right.
There's a narrative. There's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of quirkiness. Karaoke, race car driving, golf, so on and so forth. But the cool thing about this game is that he has like all this technology with him now. Like he can use drones and a whip. There's some really cool scenes where he's like swinging around like Spider-Man. Like it's kind of like. That's what I love about Yakuza. It's like it's grounded, but it's like it still has like this like world where like craziness happens. Like it has that weird, it has that funny balance where it's like it's really silly, but really cool at the same time. Like really serious. Like if you ever played a Yakuza game, you know what I'm talking about. The combat is really fun. I mean, it's nothing new. It's pretty much like Yakuza fighting. Is the only difference you can use technology. You can he has like rocket boots. He can like glide across the map. Right across like the battlefield. He can grapple people and like whip them towards him like Scorpion. He can use drones to hit enemy to throw drones at people. It's really over the top, goofy, but at the same time really serious. I mean, the fact that there's a giant carnival on a ship where people have it's basically a coliseum where people fight, and everybody's just cool with that. No one investigates. We're just cool with the big fight on there. So, Dory, what do you think about it? Ooh.
It's because they got rid of phones, obviously. So now they got away with anything. Look, I finished it. Don't ever play a drinking game where you have to take a drink every time Akame says "Joryu," because you'll be fucking dead. But by the way, I love Akame. Um, this is a good game. I feel like this is a very limited game. It's fun. It feels a little unnecessary. I don't. The main problem, right, is because and I know this is not really fair. Yakuza 0 is a full on game. But it felt very limiting to only have a couple of styles. Even Ishin, which came out earlier this year, had a few different styles and stuff like that. This only has 2. Now there are ways to mix it up. There are ways to do different not different styles, but like, go into like beast mode very briefly when you're in Yakuza mode and so on and so forth. But it never really feels like you need to. I almost never died. I died like maybe a couple times, mostly at the end, because of course JRPG.
I only died one time in the Coliseum, and it was like one of the special fights. And I didn't expect it to be as hard as it was.
Yeah. This game really feels like, to me, they said we need to have a bridge story, and we want a Coliseum where people fight to death, and that's really the game. A lot of the game honestly revolves around the Coliseum, and that's kind of a sore spot for me. Not because it's bad. It just feels very samey. It always feels like in the story you go back to the Coliseum again and again and again. And it only happens 2 or 3 times, but in a short game like this, that matters. It just becomes such a focal point that it's hard to see why this game exists except for the story. I feel like this could have, when you say this meeting could have been an email, I feel like this game could have been a fucking cinematic movie and I would have been fine. It's not bad, and I'm not dissing it. I'm not saying I didn't have fun. I had a lot of fun. There's some great side missions. One of my favorite side missions, note to the surprise of nobody, is the one where there's a pro wrestler and you're trying to get him, his promotion back up. I did actually almost all the side missions. That's one of my favorite things about this game, is the reward system is very good. The Akame points, I was a little cold on at first, but once I started investing in that system, it was so easy to like get really good gear, really good weapons, build my relationship with Akame. Like everything was feeding back into each other like really nicely, and it didn't feel overpowered. It felt just right. So I loved that, and I hope they do something similar on Infinite Wealth. Actually, we can talk briefly about the demo trial version if you want to. I didn't finish it though because it crashed. But anyway.
I'm already sold in that game, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I am too. Yeah, it's a good game. I mean, I would say this is a great game before I say this is an okay game. But this would get like a probably a 7 or maybe a 7.5 for me. It's a good game. It's not doing anything amazing for the Yakuza series, but there's really great stuff. I mean, there's your classic side missions, stuff like the racing. You have the Sega arcade. I played a couple games. I sucked at all of them. I just stopped doing it. You've got the claw machine. You've got the one awkward thing is that you've got kind of dating in this game, but they've replaced the NPCs with live action models.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I did it once, and because I had to, everybody, not because I'm a raging pervert.
Yeah,
right?
They make you do that.
Yeah, they make you do that. And I might be, but that's besides the point. But that it was it's just like I'm playing a Yakuza game. Come on. So I didn't go back after. It did look like it could be a cool system, but the IGN review kind of sums it all up where, he's like playing that part of the game and his girlfriend comes in. He's like, honey, it's not what it looks like. It's very awkward to explain to other people, and I don't recommend going into it just for that. If you're going to do it, make sure you lock the door. That's all I'm saying, because it looks very strange. But yeah, there's other stuff that you can invest your time into. There's playing baseball. There's
golf.
No, sorry. There's golf.
That race car.
There's other stuff.
Yeah,
I was thinking of Like a Dragon. I was like, was there racing? I was like, no, that was Like a Dragon. The go-kart stuff. Yeah, it's a fun time. Look, the main thing about it is the story, the voice acting, the writing. It's all excellent. It's what you want from a Yakuza game. Telling you that the story is well written is like saying, I don't know, Life is Strange has superpowers in it. Like, yeah, that's the whole thing, right? It's very well written. It does feel constrained. I agree with other reviewers on this. It does feel constrained because you know where it has to go, and you know, like, it's not gonna end with like Kiryu dead or whatever, and it's not gonna end with some big reveal. All the big reveals, if you've already played Like a Dragon, have already been done. Most of them,
And it
anyway.
spoils
There's
the
still,
ending of Like a Dragon if you haven't played it.
right. It really expects you to have played Song of Life and Like a Dragon. Now, I've only played one.
It's a direct sequel to Yakuza 6.
Right.
So.
Right, absolutely. And so, in that way, it is a sequel. But yeah, I never got around to Song of Life, so there are definitely some things that I didn't get, but they're not hard to pick up on what's going on. You know, there's some scenes with Kiryu crying and stuff like that. About
basically,
yeah.
Kiryu dies at the end of 6, and he fakes his death. That's not really a spoiler. That's like the main premise of the game. That's why he doesn't have a name, because he uses a fake name.
Now, the funniest fucking thing about this game is Kiryu tries to do the fucking Clark Kent thing on a discount, and he walks around Sotenbori, and I'm like, and I'm probably butchering that, but he walks around, and everyone's like, "Oh, hi, Kiryu. Hi, Kiryu." And he's like, "What? Me? No. Yeah, I'm Joryu." I'm like, bro, no one's buying.
I really appreciate that. I love that they stay committed to that joke the entire game.
Yes. They stay committed the entire time. And the only time I think he ever actually... Well, I don't want to spoil it, but he does drop it at one point towards the end of the game, and it's a very cool moment. Even then, he only, like, half-heartedly drops it. Like, you know, if that's who you think I am, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, I mean, this is a fucking Yakuza game. I'm not sure really what you want me to say at this point. It has really good writing, really wacky side quests. Really strong characters, really strong writing. You know, the same old gameplay you're used to, but a little more limited. So that's why it's not an 8 or anything for me. What else was I gonna say? The spy stuff are cool. The gadgets are cool. I never felt like they were essential. They just felt like nice little additions to the gameplay. But I tried really hard. I mean, to make it work. I felt like the bomb and the rope were the best. Not exactly what they're called, but those gadgets felt like the most useful in the whole game, just because they're AoE effects. The rocket boost felt clunky and hard to control, and I don't feel like they do a lot of damage anyway. And I even used them once, and some guy just walked up to me and hit me right after. So I was like, what the fuck was the point? The whole thing of the rocket boost is supposed to outrun them. So yeah, it just feels like a cool game that I'm not sure needed to exist, but it's on Game Pass, so I'm not going to complain that much.
Yeah, it's for, like, if you're a big fan of Kiryu, this is a really fun game, because like they let Kiryu just be like, it's basically about him going on his own little adventure. Like, it's like a side game basically. Like, it's a side game and it's a main game at the same time. It's just like, oh, Kiryu's just a spy and he's gonna go on like John Wick kind of adventures and do John Wick moves. Like, there's a lot of cool imagery in this game where like Kiryu gets to do like really cool things. I think that's what I really liked about this game the most, is just how, like, just the love for Kiryu, like, and like this, he's just going on this little wacky spy adventure. Like, why not? Does this game need to exist? No. It doesn't do anything new. Basically, it's a Yakuza game. Is it worth $50? Probably not.
No.
Did I spend $50? Yes. Do I regret?
Jesus Christ!
Do I regret spending $50? No, I don't. Because I love Yakuza. I love those games, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it. But would I recommend it for $50? No, of course not. It's a perfect Game Pass game. Or wait for a sale game. But yeah, I like I said, I have. Might as well, if I really want something, I'll get it. It's only like a 10-hour game if you rush through it. I guess if you like really do everything, it might be like 20-something hours or something. But
yeah,
either way, it's not a long game. It's not a full Yakuza game. It's a side game. It's building up infinite wealth. So
yeah, I mean it's called Gaiden, so I think that's Japanese for abridged or something.
Exactly, and the next big one is Infinite Wealth, which comes out like January, I think.
Yeah. So very excited.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that's like the next chapter in the Yakuza series. Like, Kiryu's story is basically over, so they're just trying to bridge his story with the new character. So Ichiban, that's his name.
Ichiban. Yeah. Kasuga.
because Kiryu is in Like a Dragon, so.
Yes. Shocker. I know
And
everybody.
he's in the new one too. He has like gray hair, so.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. It's like only set 3 years later, but I guess he's cut his hair and dyed it gray or
He's
let it go gray. It's
almost
not
in
really
his,
clear.
I mean, he's like in his 50s. He's almost like 60. in that
Right,
game,
right. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe he just let it go or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So, if you're a Yakuza fan, definitely recommend. If you don't like Yakuza games, I would not recommend this game. Obviously, it's the definition of a Yakuza game. For all the goods and the bad, but like, I think what really makes this game stand out is just the really awesome moments, great voice acting, great narrative. What's up?
One thing I do want to say about this game that it has over other Yakuza games, the fast travel is so good. Finally, they just let you have all taxis at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
You can just go wherever you want. And Like a Dragon, the one with Kasuga, you have to find the taxi, use it, which they don't explain. At least I don't remember them explaining. And then you can go all over the town. And even then, like, it's a little limited. Sotenbori is the perfect kind of space to have fast travel for. I use fast travel constantly in this game. I don't want to walk around and get attacked by teenage punks or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is cool. It feels, like a half-hearted attempt at Yakuza, but luckily, even a half-hearted attempt at Yakuza is a good game because Yakuza is good.
Right. Like you mentioned, I really like the Akami points. I really like that system. I didn't think I would like it. I will say there's parts in this game where they force you to grind, which it kind of annoyed me. But it didn't feel that bad because it was not that hard to do. Like at first I was like, how am I supposed to do this? And then I realized you do these side missions for her, and you get like 50,000 points, and it's like, okay. No. Yeah. And the tournament, I really like the Coliseum. I mean, it's very basic, done millions, but I like the concept of it. Just for like shits and giggles, fun combat system with a crew. You can play as different people. Of course, I only use Kiryu. But yeah, so I think it's a good game. I agree with you. I think it's like a 7.5. I feel like if you're a Yakuza fan, I would recommend it. If you're not a Yakuza fan, I wouldn't touch this game. But at this point, there's been so many Yakuza games, if you like it or not. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so this is like Yakuza 9, 10, I don't know, something like that. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much it. That's all the topics for tonight. The next episode we're gonna talk about. Well, it will be right after the Game Awards. So we're gonna talk about the Game Awards, and then we'll talk about Super Mario RPG. That would be about mid-December, and then it's gonna be our top 10 list and our consensus top 10 list. So that's the next. So we only got 3 episodes left. And then we'll be into the new year. So. I look forward to those lists. That's my favorite content we do every year. That'll be mid-December. So I'll see you guys then. You have a good night. Happy Thanksgiving. And peace.
Enjoy you.